Visit us on the web at nilfisku.com. Nilfisk University is the cleaning equipment industry's most comprehensive web-based training and interactive learning resource. Your degree in success is just a click away at Nilfisk University. This lesson was created and brought to you by faculty experts at Nilfisk University, where excellence is attained through active learning. In this lesson on Use and Care, we'll be focusing on the ES4000. The intended audience for this lesson includes those who intend on operating or just having an in-depth discussion of the features and functionalities of the ES4000. Most importantly, this lesson is for anyone that recognizes the power of knowledge and the advantages of continuous learning in the floor care industry as a partner with Nilfisk Advance. Now let's review the outcomes for this course. After successfully completing this lesson, you'll be able to identify the 7 major systems of the ES4000. Recognize what components comprise each system. Discuss what total carpet care is. Operate the control panel functions. Describe how to run the ES4000 in extraction modes. Identify how to run the ES4000 in pre-treat mode. Identify how to run the ES4000 in dry sweep mode. Discuss how to toggle between modes. Describe how to add a wand to the ES4000, and recognize the nightly, weekly, and occasional maintenance tasks. This course will cover these topics. First, we'll spend some time familiarizing you with your ES4000. We'll begin by covering the various systems and how each of them function. Within each of these systems, we'll spend some time discussing each of the major components. Once you've gotten to know your ES4000, we'll discuss the total carpet care solution that the ES4000 offers. Then you'll learn how to properly operate it in each of its cleaning modes and how to add a hose and a wand. Finally, we'll spend some time going over required maintenance of the ES4000 in order to keep it performing in peak conditions for years to come. There are 7 main systems in the ES4000. The solution system consists of the solution tank, the pump, and the nozzles. The solution system functions to deliver the cleaning solution to the deck or to the misting chamber. The scrub system consists of the deck, brushes, and debris hopper. The scrub system function is to remove any large debris and to agitate the cleaning solution into the carpet, which in turn loosens the trapped soil. The recovery system consists of the vacuum shoes, vacuum motors, and recovery tank. The function of the recovery system is to remove the dirty cleaning solution and contain it inside the recovery tank. The electrical system is comprised of the batteries and charger and is used to power the ES4000. The user interface contains the control panel, the steering wheel, the seat, and the pedals, and allows the user to set the cleaning functions and control the movement of the ES4000. The chemical system on the ES4000 consists of the detergent bottle and chemical pump and is an open system allowing for limitless options and dilution. The chemical bottle is reusable and interchangeable. This system functions to administer chemical flow during extraction and pre-treat mode. The filtration system consists of the misting chamber and the washable secondary filter. The function of the filtration system is to remove airborne particles during dry sweep mode. The solution tank on the ES4000 has a 28-gallon capacity. The fill port is located on the left side from the operator's seated position. Typically, you'll always use clean water only, as any required chemical will be added through the chemical system. The solution from this tank will be dispensed through one of 3 nozzles. The first nozzle is the Interim mode nozzle. This nozzle is located on top of the deck directly above the front brush. The second nozzle is the Restoration Mode nozzle. This nozzle is located inside the nozzle cover near the front of the deck. The third nozzle is the Misting Chamber nozzle. We'll discuss this when we cover the filtration system. The Restoration Mode nozzle has a large orifice and should only require visual inspection to ensure it's running properly. The Interim Mode nozzle has a smaller orifice and will be more prone to obstruction due to water deposits. It's important to make sure that these nozzles are always kept clean and free of debris in order to provide proper cleaning. The scrub deck on the ES4000 is actuator controlled and designed to fully function automatically. The actuator adjusts to provide proper brush pressure at all times. The dual-cylinder brushes are tools-free and counter-rotating. You'll notice that the front and rear brushes are of different sizes. To access the front brush, you must rotate the knob on the top of the brush cover counterclockwise. Once you've done this, the cover may be slid down. Now that the cover is free, the cover and brush can slide away from the deck. To access the rear brush, turn the thumb screw counterclockwise until the cover may be slid down. Once you've done this, the brush can be pulled out. When replacing the rear brush, take care to make certain the drive end is properly located and is fully seated. It's important to make certain that the brushes are kept clean and free of debris. The ES4000 comes standard with green antimicrobial multi-purpose brushes. The debris hopper is designed to capture any larger debris. To remove the debris hopper, simply grasp the metal handle on either side of the deck and slide the hopper out. The hopper should be removed and cleaned after every use. The vacuum shoes on the ES4000 are automatically controlled by their own actuator and adjust to the changing floor conditions. They're supported by gas shocks that allow the shoes to float over thresholds while maintaining optimized down pressure. Like the brushes, the dual shoes are tools-free removable. In order to remove the vacuum shoes, you first must remove the debris hopper. Once the hopper is out of the way, you may start by removing the right vacuum shoe first. Pull up on the round pull pin directly behind the shoe. At the same time, slide the shoe forward. Remove the vacuum hose from the top of the shoe and retrieve the shoe from underneath the deck. It's important to properly clean each vacuum shoe after every use. The large recovery tank has an extra wide opening to allow for proper cleaning. It's important to rinse out the recovery tank following each cleaning. The lid should be left open to allow proper drying and to avoid unwanted odors. The drain hose is located on the rear of the machine and features a pinch and pour feature. To use the drain hose, simply remove it from the clips on the back of the machine. Pinch the hose closed while removing the lid. Once the drain hose has been positioned over the desired drain location, the hose may be unpinched, allowing the recovery water to pour out of the tank. The ES4000 features dual vacuum motors. These motors are housed directly under the recovery tank. Each vacuum motor has an inlet screen filter. These filters are located under the recovery tank lid and should be cleaned at the end of each day. The ES4000 runs on a 24-volt battery system. The system consists of 4 6-volt batteries housed just beneath the operator's seat. To access the batteries, simply tilt the seat forward. Depending on the package you purchased, the ES4000 will either come with an onboard smart charger or a shelf charger. The onboard charger is housed in the compartment under the operator's feet. This charger allows the ES4000 to be plugged into any outlet for recharging. Simply open the compartment door and plug the cord in. If your ES4000 came with a shelf charger, you'll need to park the ES4000 where you keep the charger. Lift the seat up and disconnect the battery harness. Attach the charger to the harness and turn on the shelf charger. Make certain that you leave the seat up during charging. The battery should be recharged on a daily basis or following each extended use of the machine. The user interface on the ES4000 consists of the control panel, steering wheel, and pedals. The control panel is located on the operator's left side and has touch-sensitive, icon-driven buttons and a display screen. These buttons contain lights which alert the operator as to when they're active, and the display screen will graphically show the user what tasks the ES4000 is currently performing. The key switch is located just below the controls. The operator compartment is designed to provide easy access, comfort, and full control over the machine operation. The machine is accessible from either side. The steering wheel is designed to be fully adjustable. Simply pull out on the knob located below the wheel and set the steering wheel angle to the desired height. The seat is also fully adjustable. Tip the seat forward, loosen the knob beneath the seat, slide it to the proper location and retighten. The seat also contains a safety switch. If the user's not in the seat, the ES4000 will not move. The drive pedal is multi-directional. If you push forward, the machine will move forward. If you push backwards, the machine will move backwards. The onboard chemical system is an open system, which means that any appropriate cleaning chemical may be used. The chemical bottle is refillable and interchangeable. To access the chemical bottle, open the front panel below the operator's seat. The bottle may then be lifted out. The dilution ratio is set on the control panel. With the deck down, hold down the chemical button for 5 seconds. The green light next to the chemical button will begin to flash. By repeating pushing the chemical button, you may now toggle through the available dilution ratios. When you reach the proper ratio, simply stop pressing the chemical button and the selected ratio will become active. The ES4000 has a dual filtration system. The first component is the misting chamber. The misting chamber is used in dry sweep mode only. When in dry mode, the ES4000 does not rely on bags or paper filters to remove airborne particles. Instead, it employs air washing technology. The misting chamber will continually introduce an atomized mist of water into the recovery hose as dust, dirt, and small particles pass through. This recovered soil is then captured in solution and retained in the recovery tank. In order to access this nozzle, you must first tilt down the rear recovery port panel by loosening the bolt on the right side of the panel. Once the bolt has been loosened, you may tip the panel down. The misting chamber is located on the left side of the dry mode port. By turning the nozzle body a quarter turn counterclockwise, you will loosen the nozzle. It may then be pulled out of the misting chamber. The nozzle may then be cleaned. The second filter used is a washable final air filter. This filter is located in the recovery tank. To access this filter, remove the filter cover and remove the filter. This filter is used for exhausted air in all modes and should be routinely washed, cleaned, and replaced. The ES4000 has something called Total Carpet Care. Total Carpet Care is a system that allows the user to maintain their carpet in all soiling conditions. Let's take a look at the main components that make up the Total Carpet Care system. There is the recovery tank, deck, and vacuum shoes. If we take a deeper look at the deck, you'll see dual counter rotating brushes and the debris hopper. The final component is the unique misting chamber that's the centerpiece of the dual filtration system. The first mode that we'll discuss is interim extraction. In interim extraction mode, the low moisture spray is applied to the front brush. The front and rear brush then groom the cleaning solution through the carpet to remove trapped soil into solution that's left at the carpet surface. The vacuum shoes then remove the dirty solution into the recovery tank. Meanwhile, any larger pieces of debris are deposited into the debris hopper. Interim extraction mode is used to quickly extract moderate soil loads, groom the carpet, and remove any larger debris. Carpets will typically be dry and ready to use in under 30 minutes. The next mode is restorative extraction. Restorative extraction mode is similar to interim extraction mode, but in this case, the full spray is applied directly to the carpet's surface. The front and rear brush then agitate the wet carpet to cause soil to be trapped into solution. As before, the vacuum shoes then remove the dirty solution into the recovery tank, and any larger pieces of debris are deposited into the debris hopper. Restorative extraction mode is used to deep clean heavily soiled carpets, and dry times are typically about 2 hours. Next is pre-treat mode. Pre-treat mode is used to properly apply and agitate any carpet treatment. In pre-treat mode, the vacuum shoes will automatically move up into their storage position. A full spray of properly diluted chemical is then applied directly to the carpet's surface. The brushes will then agitate the chemical into the carpet pile. No vacuum is used in pre-treat mode so that the cleaning agent is able to have the necessary dwell time. Typically, Pre-treat mode is used to apply encapsulation chemicals or to pre-spray carpet in preparation for restorative extraction, but it may be used with any desired carpet treatment. The final total carpet care mode is dry sweep mode. In dry sweep mode, no solution is applied to the carpet and the vacuum shoes remain in their storage position. The dual vacuum motors pull air directly from the deck above the brushes. The counter-rotating brushes lift the soil from the carpet. Dirt, dust, and small particles of soil are then vacuumed through the misting chamber. Here, a light spray of water captures all the airborne particles, which are then retained in the recovery tank. Larger debris is contained in the debris hopper. Dry sweep mode is used to clean the vast majority of soil from the carpet. Since no water ever touches the carpet surface, the pile is lifted, the carpet is clean and dry, and ready for immediate use. These 4 unique cleaning modes make up the total carpet care system and allow the ES4000 to provide virtually all cleaning needs as an everyday carpet machine. Now let's familiarize ourselves with all of the controls. This is the display. The display will graphically show the user what mode they're in, plus information such as dilution ratios and solution level. This is the dry mode button. This button operates the ES4000 in dry sweep mode. This is the wet mode button. This button is used to operate the ES4000 in its extraction and pre-treat modes. This is the interim extraction mode button. Pushing this button toggles the ES4000 into interim extraction mode. This is the restorative extraction mode button. Pushing this button toggles the ES4000 into restorative extraction mode. This is the pre-treat mode button. This button enables pre-treat mode. This is the detergent button. This button toggles on and off the onboard detergent system. Here is the solution button. Pressing this button toggles on and off the solution flow. This is the horn button, and this is the vacuum button. This button toggles the vacuum motors on and off and allows the user to operate a carpet wand. Let's take a minute to better understand the display panel. The information that the display panel provides is critical to understanding what function the ES4000 is performing. Depending on which cleaning mode you're operating in, the display will appear different. For example, if you were last operating in sweep mode when you turn the machine on, this is what you'll see. However, if you were last operating in one of the extraction modes or pre-treat mode, this is the screen that you'll see. These are the dry mode and wet modes standby displays. These are the display screens that you'll see when the ES4000 is in transport. You will notice that these different screens will have things in common, such as the battery indicator, which tells you how fully charged your battery is, and solution tank level, which indicates how full your solution tank is. You'll also notice some differences, such as the chemical dilution ratio, which is inactive when you're in dry sweep mode. The right side of the screen will also appear different, as this side indicates whether you're ready to go into dry sweep mode or one of the wet modes. Let's spend some time learning the different mode displays. The first step is to understand how you switch the ES4000 between wet and dry modes. Wet mode is on the right side of the control panel, while dry mode is on the left. When the ES4000 is powered on, one of these modes will be active. You will know which one by the amber LED that appears next to the mode button. In this case, you will notice that the wet mode is currently active. To switch the ES4000 to dry mode, simply press the dry mode button. When you do this, several things will happen. First, you'll see a flashing amber LED appear by the dry mode button. This will be accompanied by an audible beeping sound. The display screen will then display a graphic reminding the user to move the recovery hose on the rear of the machine to the dry mode port. This is accomplished by simply going to the back of the ES4000, removing the recovery hose from the wet mode port, and attaching it to the dry mode port. Once this is accomplished, press the dry mode button again. The flashing amber LED will turn solid, the beeping will cease and the display screen will change to the dry mode screen. You're now ready to operate in dry sweep mode. To switch back to wet mode, simply press the wet mode button. Move the hose back to the wet mode port and push the wet mode button again. Now you're ready to use the ES4000 in any of the wet modes. Let's spend some time going over each of the modes. As we have just switched to wet mode, let's start there. As we previously discussed, there are 3 wet modes: interim extraction, restorative extraction, and pre-treat mode. The buttons for these modes are on the right side of the control panel. You will know if you're prepared to use one of the wet modes by looking at 2 things. First, the display screen will appear like this. Second, you will notice that the wet mode button will have an amber LED. The amber LED lets you know that you may operate the ES4000 in one of these wet modes. To operate the ES4000, you may either press the wet mode button or any of the individual mode buttons. If you push the wet mode button, the ES4000 will default to the last mode that you ran in. When you push any of these buttons, several things will happen. First, the amber light will turn green, indicating that you're now in a cleaning mode. You will also notice that a green light has appeared next to the mode that you chose. In this case, we've chosen interim extraction mode. You will also notice that the display screen will change. The brush will move down and the interim nozzle will become active. You're now ready to perform low moisture extraction. Anytime that you're in interim extraction mode, you may turn on and off the onboard detergent by pressing the chemical button. When you press this button, a green LED will appear and the dilution indicator will show up on the display screen. Pressing this button again will turn the detergent off. The ES4000 will always default to no detergent when you first begin extracting in either interim or restorative mode, but this allows the user to add detergent at any time during their cleaning routine. Now, let's learn about restorative extraction mode. To run the ES4000 in restorative extraction mode, all you need to do is press the restorative extraction button. This may be done when you're in any of the wet modes. In this case, we're still in interim extraction mode. You can tell this by the display screen and by the green light that's next to the interim mode button. When you press the restorative mode button, you will notice that the green LED will now appear next to the restorative button. You will also notice that the display will change as the restorative nozzle will become active. You may toggle between interim and restorative mode at any time by simply pressing these buttons. This allows the user to tailor their cleaning experience to the current soiling conditions. For example, you may want to perform a quick interim extraction to the majority of the carpeted surface, but because the traffic lanes may require a deeper clean, you can toggle to restorative mode in those areas without stopping. As with interim mode, you may also toggle on and off the onboard detergent. When you've finished extracting, simply press the wet mode button. When you do this, you will notice that the green LED will disappear from the restorative mode button and the LED by the wet mode button will turn amber. The display screen will also return to standby mode. Now let's spend some time on pre-treat mode. To operate the ES4000 in pre-treat mode, you simply need to press the pre-treat button. When you do this, a green LED will appear next to the button and the display screen will change to show the dilution ratio and the pre-treat icon. The onboard chemical will always turn on in pre-treat mode as you will be diluting the detergent from the onboard system into the solution spray at a rate indicated by the displayed dilution ratio. In this case, we went from standby mode to pre-treat mode, but you may switch to pre-treat mode when you're operating the ES4000 in any of the wet modes. When you're finished pre-treating the carpet, simply press the wet mode button and you'll return to standby mode. Depending on the pre-treatment that you just applied, you may now want to extract the treated carpet using restorative extraction mode. Now that we've learned about the wet modes, let's learn how to use dry sweep mode. In order to operate the ES4000 in dry sweep mode, you must make certain that you've switched the ES4000 into dry mode. Make certain that you've also moved the recovery hose to the dry mode port on the rear of the machine. You may verify you're in dry mode when the display appears like this and the amber LED is by the dry mode button. Unlike wet mode, which has 3 unique cleaning modes, there's only one dry mode. If you press the dry mode button, the LED will turn green, the brushes will lower to the floor, and the misting chamber will become active. In each of the wet modes, the speed was preset. This is important as the travel speed is a very critical factor in extraction. You will notice that in dry mode, you're able to move much faster. Now that you've learned how to run the ES4000, let's discuss adding an external tool. In order to perform detail work, you may wish to attach a hand tool or a carpet wand. In order to do this, you must first make certain that you're in standby mode. It does not matter if you're in wet or dry mode, but there must be an amber LED next to one of them. If you push the wand button while you're actively using one of the cleaning modes, it will simply toggle off the vacuum motors. Attach a solution and vacuum hose to the ES4000 by removing the recovery tank hose from the recovery port on the rear of the machine. Attach the solution line to the female quick disconnect located next to the recovery port. Then, attach the vacuum hose to the recovery tank hose. You may then connect the other end to your carpet tool. When you push the wand button, a green LED will appear next to both the solution button and the wand button. The display screen will not change. You'll be able to use the wand to perform detail work. You can turn off the wand by simply pushing the wand button again. Just like in all of the modes, you will notice that the vacuum motors will continue to run for about 5 seconds. This is normal and designed to clear any extra water out of the recovery hose. In order to properly maintain your ES4000 and keep it operating in peak condition, you should always perform these daily maintenance tasks. Make certain to remove and clean the brushes. It's recommended that you rinse each of them off, remove any hairs or fibers, and allow them to dry. With the brushes off, remove and rinse the debris hopper. With the brushes and debris hopper out of the way, it's a perfect time to inspect the underside of the deck. As the ES4000 may have been used in wet and dry conditions, it's possible that debris could be stuck on the surfaces. If so, you should rinse out the deck area. Inspect the vacuum shoes for any excess soil. If there appears to be any blockage in the shoe inlet, you should remove and rinse them out. Make certain to empty the recovery tank along with the catch cage. Allow the recovery lid to remain open while the tank dries. Before leaving, the battery should be charged. Each week, it's recommended to inspect and clean the washable secondary air filter, and if you have wet batteries, inspect the battery water level and fill if needed. As we conclude this lesson, let's review the outcomes for this course. If you successfully absorb the content of the lesson, you'll be able to identify the 7 major systems of the ES4000. Recognize what components comprise each system. Discuss what total carpet care is. Operate the control panel functions. Describe how to run the ES4000 in extraction modes. Identify how to run the ES4000 in pre-treat mode. Identify how to run the ES4000 in dry sweep mode. Discuss how to toggle between modes. Describe how to add a wand to the ES4000, and recognize the nightly, weekly, and occasional maintenance tasks. Visit us on the web at nilfisku.com. Nilfisk University is the cleaning equipment industry's most comprehensive web-based training and interactive learning resource. Your degree in success is just a click away at Nilfisk University.